What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Open Slate. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support you showed on the past content that I've been putting out recently, on the reels, the podcast as a whole. The analytics were pretty crazy when I look back. And here we are. We're back with another guest episode. I have Shashank joining me here today. Say what's up.
What's up, guys? What's up?
So, how are you doing today? What's up?
So, man, doing really good. Apart from the traffic I had to face to reach here, but then, yeah, all good.
Bro, I don't know. Each time I bring people on, I feel like I am making them travel a distance, but like I feel like I'm like somewhere outside.
Exactly.
Because the last two guests also I had, they took a while to get here, and one of them ended up being led to this place through some gullies, and he came in his car and he squeezed his car through all these gullies. But yeah, traffic, we went on like a rant for 10 minutes at the start of the last episode talking about how bad the traffic is.
I think that should be the intro of every episode.
Yeah,
you should,
yeah,
right? How did you get here? How adventurous it
seriously,
was?
If you're not living in the area,
yeah.
The first 10 minutes can become a default, like it can become a template intro where we rant about how long it took for you to get here.
Yeah.
But
quick Bangalore life hack: get on a scooter, bro. Sell your car.
Seriously, like if you want to torture someone, put them in like Bangalore traffic in a car. In like there's certain roads, if I want to torture someone, I'd either put them in that Koramangala, that Madiwala junction in Pikar, or on the Hebbal flyover. I was telling someone, like, you want to punish someone, tell them I know a spot. drive up the Hebbal flyover, be in the passenger seat. You want to torture them, get out, you walk down the bridge, you'll go faster. Then
but
if they had to come
like
down.
if you've been to some other city and you like get back to Bangalore, right? That ride you take or that drive from the airport back to the city, you'll actually feel some bliss, bro. Like we are back home. That feeling is really, but nothing else can match that. We can rant about the traffic as much as we want.
Seriously.
But then
it doesn't, because I've been driving a lot to the airport lately. I love the drive to the airport.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say that, those first 5-6 kilometers when you get out of the airport, it's like a nice scene. You'll be like, oh wow, so beautiful. And then, you start seeing people dumping trash and all of that. But at the same time, that's like, authentic Bangalore. So it's like, I don't know, once you get out of the airport, beautiful, probably the most beautiful place in the city, right?
Yeah. Especially after the second terminal.
Yeah, second terminal, like put up like really, really nice.
Yeah.
But once you get out of that, you get like the actual feels of Bangalore, and there's nothing that matches to those.
Yeah.
So we met on Instagram through a friend's friend. Yeah, through a friend's friend. Yeah. So you saw a post that one of my friends put up. And you got it through one of your friends.
Got it, yeah.
Cool. I like how the internet works. We'll talk a little bit more about social media and all of that a little later on. Can you, for those of you, for the people listening who don't know you, can you like give them like a quick intro?
Yes, sir. So I'm Shashank SM. I'm a freelance multi-percussionist. As gibberish as it sounds, it isn't. So I use my hands to make weird sounds on random objects I find. Right. So why I gave that specific intro was because that is how my journey began.
Yeah.
I used to really love playing random rhythms on anything I find, like this table or a laptop or a TV remote I get. Anything.
What was the first thing you started?
Yeah, I very thoroughly, clearly have that visual of me I just started to play random rhythms on a calculator.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
a normal calculator. If you just start tapping those buttons on a calculator, it has a very peculiar sound to it. If you have observed, it has a certain different tone. It's not just a normal remote button, right? It has a sound to it.
I don't think I've noticed that, because the only time I've used a calculator is during math exam, and my anxiety is so high up during the math exam. I'll just be tapping fast.
I have a story with math. I'll get to that later.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So again, I started out on a calculator and then on vessels, on buckets and all that. And at some point, my parents realized that before every other object in the house has a hole on it because of... no, not what you're thinking. Because of all the rhythm stuff I've tried to play on that, they put me into classical tabla. So tabla is a Hindustani classical instrument. Okay, so they found a really good teacher, like very close by to my place, called Pandit Uday Raj Karpur.
Okay.
So I mean, he was quite a busy person. He still is a really busy person. So one of his students called Sumit Nayak. So Sumit Anna started teaching us right from the basics. So I did my, like, the Karnataka State Board conducts exams for that as well. So I did my junior, and I see. To be honest, for a person who started out on random things, like random objects, I find that was the reason I loved it, was because I could experiment all I want on that. There were really no constraints. I mean, with all due respect to classical music and how beautiful it is, it was not for me. I wanted to just explore on anything I find, or even if I take a proper instrument, I just wanted to have a complete freedom of how I should play that, without any rigidity into it, or without any set certain rules which I have to follow.
You needed that flexibility.
Exactly. I mean, just let me play on with it, or something like that. But this is a different beast. Classical music is really, I mean, it needs a very specific set of mindset and specific
discipline also.
Yeah, very much. The ability to even, like, get two steps deep into classical music is really difficult. So at one point I realized I couldn't. I've tried to get back into it multiple times, and it just reaffirmed me that this is not cut for you. And so I later, after learning tabla for a brief bit, the foundation of it actually helped me to develop my rhythm sense into something which I can put into a practical use of.
Got it.
So it wasn't too random now. Now I had a little bit of training, and now I wanted to explore instruments which are really free, which doesn't have a textbook or so to follow. So, and then I started playing an African instrument called djembe. For theater groups, where
the box that you
no, that's a cajon. I'll get to that. That's what I built my career on.
Okay.
So I started playing a djembe, and I studied at KPU. KPU is Kumaran's PU College. It's a college in South Bangalore, where I got into the college band in the second year. So which is my 12th grade, right? So there, sorry, I just burped into the
no problem. Go for it.
So I got into my second grade, 12th grade. Then I got selected to the college band, and there I played tabla initially for the band auditions. My Suprita, Gaurav, all my musician friends from that band, they were all there in the auditions, and a few teachers who also had some lenience towards music. So there I played tabla initially, and there was another friend of mine who was actually better than me in playing tabla.
Okay.
And he also used to sing. So he got into the band for both of these talents he had, and I had one talent, and I was pretty sure I would be kicked out of the audition. It wouldn't make any sense now. So as one last desperate attempt, tabla has two parts to it. Okay, there's a small one called the tabla, and the bass sound of the tabla comes on the another one called dhagga.
Okay, is there one which is like flat, or both are like pointed upwards itself?
Both are pointed upwards. Yeah, that's a mridangam.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So good start. I got an insight into how much knowledge you have on classical instruments, at least. So the dhagga, what I had, I just took it and I used it as a djembe, because I didn't own a djembe back then. And I played all these African rhythms on that, all the tapang rhythms on that. And then they were all discussing. They had formed a huddle and discussing who should come into the band this year, who should go out. And I'm pretty damn sure my name was nowhere around.
Okay.
Only the judges were sitting there, because in the end there were a few contestants who they already knew were of no use. So they were just like, we'll just get done with this. The actual decision is already made. But then I started playing all these new weird rhythms on the dhagga. So everybody in the huddle, they just like came back to the table and they listened to this, and they were like, this will be a new flavor into the band, and they got me into it.
Wow.
Satvik, by the way, you shouldn't have played tabla that day. You already got in as a singer, but then all good now.
Taking everyone else's spot?
Yeah.
Just kidding, I don't know you. It's just a joke.
Satvik Satish. Yes. So I'm getting into like every intricate detail. cut me off whenever you want.
No,
Okay,
no
yeah.
problem.
So that's how I got into my band, and then you guys tell in Hindi, no, that chull of audience performing in front of them. I mean, I had sort of developed that right from school when I started performing, and so here it got really serious. I was like, I like what I'm doing here. So the band performance, that was a really big team. So just the vocalists were 8 or 9 of them. They took turns. They sang their individual songs and all that. And I really liked what it was, the rehearsal part of it and all that. And then I started taking it seriously. So that is when I had a boon where my cousin brother called Sumuk Ravishankar. Right now he's one of the top percussionists of the city. So he started acting in theater, then started getting into theaters, the music section of it, and then he had transitioned into percussions completely by then. He has played for some massive names like Vijay Prakash, Ananya Bhatt, Raghu Dikshit and all that. So I told him that even I am interested. He knew I used to practice tabla and all that. He never knew that I would actually want to continue or get serious with this. So I asked him, and he started teaching me a few techniques. So I can replicate the sound that a professional percussionist can make, but not with the same technique, because I was self-taught at that point.
Okay, so it's like you can hear, once you hear the sounds that they make, you make it by yourself, but not the exact same way
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, a replica is always a replica, right? If you at least know the positioning or the basics of it, you can try to match it or get to that level. Or we can put it as you can try to get to a professional level with that. I mean, if I'm playing it at my home for myself, it's all good however I play. But now that I wanted to do it like properly, professionally, I approached him and I asked him that I would like to continue doing this at least until I get bored of it or something like that. And he was like, yeah, cool. He was really welcoming. Like I couldn't have done anything into this without his support, like initially. So he taught me the finger positioning, the way the stroke should be, how the wrist is important, not just the fingers.
There's lots of things. I think sorry to cut you off, but just watching people perform with classic instruments and all, there's like a lot of things that go into it that you won't think like as a normal person just watching, you won't think that it's like that important, but it's like the way you flick your wrist, each spot makes like a different 100%. Sound, and you have to like, there's like so much, it's like so technical, but to anyone watching from afar, it just sounds like, okay, they're hitting it, making noise, and that's all. Wow,
exactly,
very nice.
Right? Yeah. Especially when you're a percussionist and you're like put into one corner of the stage, and there's very less light on you, and all the light is on the vocalist. No offense to any vocalists out there. You guys sell tickets and we get paid, so not an issue. But then
no one's complaining. But yeah. And I wanted to get into this. So we were talking, you told me that you're part of like a band.
Yeah.
And until you told me, I didn't know like to what extent, like I didn't know like the not the severe, like basically the reach that you guys have. And it was like a pretty cool story. I mean, these are like the stories that I like, just seeing how people like grow on the internet, because that's like as tough as it is the easiest it's been to grow in a long time. You need to have the right content, but can you just walk us through like that story of how your band just you gained a ton of followers, had a huge reach after going viral a few times? Can you just walk us through that?
So after my college band, I started getting into these shows and all that, right? So I used to, I still do freelancing majorly. And one of my bandmate, he played keys in my college band. So the college band was called Dhwani, by the way. So Dhwani, he used to play piano in Dhwani. His name is Ashwin Mandot. So he had come up with a song called Haste Haste, which was like a tour back to your school days, a concept like that.
Got it.
So Ashwin wanted me on board the project he didn't want the beat to be produced in that. He wanted an acoustic instrument which had to be recorded live, so that it gives that earthen feel to it, that natural feel to it, and people can connect to their roots really quick. Because if the music is produced, it is artificial. Here there is somebody playing it, and there is some exchange of energy into it, right? In that project, the recording was done at Jai Jeevan's place. So I'll tell you who Jai Jeevan is later. So there was a guy called Jai Jeevan. So the recording was done at his place, and he ended up producing the rest of the track. Ashwin had composed it. He produced the track. Usually people get me wrong when I use the term produced, as in it's financial production. When in this whole episode, if I'm talking about somebody producing something or production, it is music production, not the money aspect of it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Jai Jeevan produced the music for that, and he also was the DOP. No, he is one multi-talented guy. Okay. So yeah.
What's a DOP for people?
DOP is a director of photography.
Okay.
So he took care of the cinematography part of that completely. Yeah. So that is when I met Jai Jeevan, and also the lead vocalist of that song was Suprabha BR. So she sang the song. And also, I was just pulling Satvik's leg regarding the audition and all that. Even Satvik was a part of this. He did the male vocals of it. Okay. That is where, Ashwin, all of us did this project. And then Ashwin and I were old friends. It continued like that. But Jai Jeevan and Suprabha, they were my new buddies because of this project. Got it. And Jai Jeevan again wanted me to track acoustic percussions for a cover song which he was doing, of a Pratik Guhat song called Kaha Ho Tum. And here what happened was, the person who was singing that song was Sunidhi. Jai Jeevan used to do this thing where he used to randomly DM vocalists on Instagram, people whom he thought were really good, and he used to make covers with them. So he used to produce the music with all the beats, and the whole background track of it is produced by him. And he would call in a guest vocalist. So he was doing this thing, and Sunidhi was also one of those singers of that whole series. So he wanted me to play acoustic percussions, acoustic rhythm section. He wanted cajon for this. So I tracked percussions for this, and that is where I met Sunidhi. Ironically, Suprabha and Sunidhi and me, we all are from the same PU college, but they are my juniors. Like they joined PU after I passed out, so I obviously didn't know both of them. I had been to their bands practice sessions and all that, their college bands practice sessions, because as a senior we used to have that liberty to attend the practice sessions and take a feel of it. Yeah, exactly. So even if I had attended their practice sessions and all that, I didn't know them that well, or I didn't even know them. So, and the funny part is, they both were from the same batch, and even they both didn't know each other. So,
oh my God, that just happened to me yesterday. Not same batch, but I ran into a guy going to play football. I ran into a guy who was my junior, and my cousin introduced me to him. Sorry, he was my senior. I was his junior. And my cousin's like, oh yeah, this guy studied in the same school as you. And then he looks at me, he's like, who's this guy? I've never seen him in my life. And I know what you mean. So they were in the same batch and they didn't know each other. Exactly. But you all three were connected to the same
because
college.
Of that one project. So when I did Kaha Ho Tum, Sunidhi was now a peer, right? So and then I'm also into lyrics. Okay, I write lyrics. So I had a lyrics for a song which is now called Neenillade.
Okay.
Which at that time for me felt was really beautiful. I want to get this into a proper form and shape and make this a full-fledged song. Okay. So I approached both of these guys. I approached Jai Jeevan to take care of the production, also help me with the composition of it. I approached him with this perspective of him helping me with the composition, but then I just gave the lyrics and the rest of the team took care of the composition. I didn't have to break my head about anything regarding that. And I approached Sunidhi to fill in the vocals for that. I wanted her to sing that song.
Okay. So you delegated the work with other people.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even delegation. It's like it's
You just
more of a
put a team
collaboration,
together, yeah.
because their skill set is to sing,
Mhm.
his skill set is to produce and compose. I've written the lyrics.
Mhm.
I wanted this to come together as a
Got it.
project.
Mhm.
So now that Suprabha was also our friend, while we were working with this project, Neenillade, we all sat together for composing sessions. I used to go for the vocal recordings also. I wanted to be very sure about the pronunciation, because that piece of lyrics was really close to me. It
Got
was
it.
about a martyr's daughter.
Okay.
So what she feels every time she thinks of her father,
Got
and how it will affect her in the society today, because now that her father is not here and all that, it was really special to me.
Got it.
Yeah, well, I mean, so yeah, I wanted to keep the pronunciation and all that very specific and correct and all that. So we ended up working, the four of us ended up working together throughout the project, even for the video shoot. Like the video is full of the protagonist crying in the remembrance of her father, and we are going for a take. When there is action, she's crying, and as soon as we cut the shot, we are going bonkers, laughing and all that. So we had really a
So you
ball
guys
of a
really
time,
clicked
bro.
all
Yeah.
of you all together.
And we shot it at my buddy's place, Nitin. So we raided their house. We made a mess of the whole place and all that. It was really kind of him to 50 ರೂಪಾಯಿ GPay ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡು ಮಚ್ಚ. So when we did all this, we figured out really quick that the vibe is really good. We have to start performing live. So imagine radiating this energy to a live audience and bringing them together and having a really great time. So that was the initial idea, and we just started off.
What was your first gig?
I'll come to that. Like I mentioned about Jai Jeevan's cover song and all that, he had a YouTube channel called Staccato Unplugged.
Okay.
So staccato is something, it's a musical term where it is a type of playing, especially in the string section. The string section means the violin, violin, the cello and all that. That section, and the piano, where every note is played in such a way that it's heard clearly. So that is staccato. Okay. His YouTube channel was called Staccato Unplugged. And when we all came together, he had some subscribers on the YouTube channel already. We wanted to keep that. Not starting something like from the scratch. He was really cool with it. So we wanted to keep the channel, and so I wanted to retain that name, that Staccato. One thing, the older audience is still connected to the page because at least one part of the name is there. It's not completely rebranded.
Wait, what's the name of the band now?
Now it is the Staccato Cafe.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the cafe came in because not Sunidhi majorly, but the rest of us, the three of us, me, Jai Jeevan and Suprabha, we were big time coffee lovers. Now I don't have a preference, but then
we just spoke about it off camera.
So before that, I was big time into coffee. And that cafe, it came that was one influence to bring that cafe thing in. And also the vibe was such that we used to chill. Our performances used to be chill. We are not taking a load. We are not taking that pressure. So it was more like your
a fun thing to do, right?
A cafe which brews music in which every note is heard clear. So that is the Staccato Cafe, something like that.
That's a deep thing. That's a pretty deep name for a band.
That's the lyricist in me.
But no, that's actually really cool that you found a way to connect it.
Exactly.
And it's
so that was the
what
origin
you guys
of the
do,
band.
right? So you guys do that together. You do it together, and the name of your band is literally how you guys perform. Right? So that's
how we strive to perform every time.
That's the goal. And
it also show that the name itself is a north star to where we should head. Right?
Okay.
So,
and we were talking about this, right? So you created, you guys came together and you started performing, and we were talking about this again off camera about how a lot of short form of content is very prevalent now. It's I've seen people just going pretty viral because now our attention span is gone down like crazy. But how did your band end up
Yeah.
getting a lot of recognition and going viral. It was through reels, right? Because
Yes.
I remember seeing a highlight on the band's thing
Yeah, the 1
on the
million
page
club.
with a lot of reels that have gone viral. So how did those things come about?
Yeah, so we were really conscious about the fact that I don't know if it works for everybody, but we were really clear about the fact that you have to have a certain social media presence and build a brand, and convert that those inbound enquiries and inbound leads into your live shows. So that is where we consciously put an effort into creating social media content, as well as approaching people and pitching them that we are so and so band. We do shows like this. So initially we were an acoustic band. We didn't have a drummer. Now Navneet Udupa is with us as a full-time member of the band, and he plays drums for us. So initially we were an acoustic band. So yeah, we were clear about the fact that we need to have a certain social media presence, and also keep constantly working on getting live gigs. So we have cycled a lot, man. I have a very limited English vocabulary. I might do direct transition. What is that? Translations of Kannada.
No problem,
In Kannada, we call it cycle hodiodu.
Uh-huh.
So I just, so now it's a new English phrase, guys. So we cycled a lot. So I really don't want to use the word struggle, bro. I mean, that's so cliched these days.
Yeah, I mean,
But then, it was not struggle. We enjoyed every part of it, where we used to approach random people. One New Year's Eve, or I guess Christmas and New Year's. For both Christmas and New Year's, we didn't have a single gig, and we have announced ourselves as a band. That's really big for somebody who are calling themselves as musicians, and they've set up a band, and they're really at home without a gig on Christmas or New Year's.
Yeah.
So we had to cold mail or cold call 60 to 70 people in 1.5 hours, because somebody had booked gigs on that day and they cancelled. They didn't even give us a proper reason. I wish they find us today after all the social media thing, but then
gotta let them know.
Yeah. I mean, that was the situation initially. We used to approach cafes and tell them that you just give us the space. We get our sound, we get our equipments, we perform for free. If you want, you can charge people tickets for that. You can keep 100% of it. That was how we started.
Okay.
We played our first public gig at a place called Cafe Down the Alley in Girinagar, near Pesset.
Got it. Okay.
So that is where there was a guy called Sagar who was the owner of that place. So we approached him and we talked to him and we got that place, and we expected a crowd of 25 to 30 people because of the stories and all that, and luckily all our friends showed up. Each member of the band, everybody's friend showed up, and they brought along 4 or 5 more people from there, and then that was a carnage, bro. We expected 30. We were ready for 50, but there were 100 or 120 people in a small, really small space. Yeah. We didn't have permission or anything. We were just getting out of COVID lockdowns and all that. Neighbors called the police on that gig. It was really fun.
Was it at night or in the evening?
No, it was not even night. We winded it up by 9.
Okay.
It was still a problem because they never had experienced something like that, because it was a cozy little co-working space type cafes you see around Bangalore, right? So that was the first gig. I'm sorry, I'm completely lost. Where did we start the question? I should get to social media, right?
Reels, sorry. No problem.
This is one problem with me. Please, keep reminding me, okay?
No problem.
So that was the first gig, and in the meantime, this was the journey in terms of the live scene. And in the meantime, we used to constantly post on social media. Luckily, Jaijeevan had a really good interface with him. I'm not good with the tech, but he had some Yamaha mixer.
Not like this box over here.
Not at all. But this is still intriguing for me. This is already too much, and he had a big one. So imagine. And he had a good Rode mic, and we used to record covers on that, and it never worked. Social media never worked for us initially, but it wasn't taking anything away from us, right? We anyhow had to meet to jam. So we used to record a cover in that same time, jamming for shows. We used to record covers and upload them on Instagram. And suddenly they recorded another cover of a really classic retro Kannada song called Neenillade. I'm so self-centered that I'm still talking about the song I've written, which is that Naguva Nayana. Okay. So yeah, I almost cursed if it's
We'll beep that out.
Yeah. So we did that cover of Naguva Nayana, which I don't know. I haven't taken the band's permission as to if I have to reveal this detail or not, but you guys can kick me out of the band. I'm kidding, by the way.
Oh, no, please don't. So, I don't want to be the cause of any problems over here. We're just
I'll be like, Adil bro, now get me a new
come
gig.
in peace.
So what I did was, what we thought was, it was not really like that good. We shouldn't even post it types. So that was where we rated that particular cover. But we were like, at least to keep the consistency going, anyhow, we have 50 to 100 people watching it. In that 50 to 100, if half of them dislike it, it still doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't make a big difference to the society, is what we were thinking at that point. And we were like, we have made some cover, just upload it. I mean, I was not even a part of that cover, actually. The music was actually produced for that, even the rhythm section. So we did that and we posted that cover. And back then, each of the member had the Instagram account on all of our phones. So notification, ting, ting, ting. Like the phone is like beeping like crazy. After like 5 or 6 hours of the release or the post, it was getting like really crazy. We didn't understand what's happening, and then after a certain point, it was really fun to refresh and see 5,000 more views, 500 more likes on it, and it was unprecedented. Like we had no idea that in 20 hours or 2 days, I'm not sure, in some actually limited, like very less period of time, it hit 1 million plays.
And you know what? Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
I remember just checking out those videos, right? Like the ones that went super viral, which have like 1 million, 2 million views and all that. When I open that, it shows all your friends, people who you follow, who've liked it. Exactly. And there's a random bunch of people who have liked it. As in like quite a few people who've liked it who aren't like who aren't following your page, but they've liked the thing and they've consistently liked all these things. So it just shows how far the videos probably reached, right? Yeah.
So that was the first video that went viral, and we had a blast. We couldn't digest. We have no idea of what's happening, and we have no idea of did that spike?
No.
We had no idea of how to take this forward after this, right? We weren't ready for it. I mean, it's all cool to listen to people talking that you have to be ready to grab your opportunities with open hands and all that, bro. The opportunity was too far-fetched. We had no idea that it was coming anytime soon, and this was a surprise. So even after that, we didn't change anything, right? We were organically producing some sort of content, and this one clicked out of nowhere. So we knew that we didn't have a certain formula which got us viral. So we were like, what we are doing right now is working. We'll continue doing that.
Okay.
Our only intention was to put up music.
Yeah.
And I mean, initially we had even tried these comedy reels and all that, like not proper sketches, but when there was that Kacha Badam,
the dance,
the viral thing, right? That audio, we had made a Kannada version of it.
Okay.
Where it was Valentine's, and it was the Kacha Badam was trending, and we were dissing like people who really spend like expensive enormous amounts of money on the whole concept was about how you steal from your father's pocket and then you're gifting a teddy bear. So we used to do stuff like that, which we used to find it funny, but Yeah, those were our actual initial steps of success. So those reels used to hit 25k
Yeah.
or 30k plays and
Mhm.
all. We were like, oh, like this is massive and all that. But we weren't consistent with it because we knew that is just a part of what we do.
Got
That is not mainstream.
Mm.
So after this happened, we stopped all that. We knew what people were tuning in to.
Mm.
So we continued doing, and we found one niche of getting retro Kannada songs and giving it a lo-fi or western, not lo-fi, but then a new age look to it, outlook to it.
Mhm.
So only the cosmetics of it, the fabrication of it used to differ from what the actual song is,
Mhm.
but that peaceful vibe of it, that essence of it, we used to keep that essence, and we started posting more videos like of the same. And you know how it works, right? Especially on Instagram, especially on reels, if one thing really goes good, the next 10 posts you already have a really good head start.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a certain clout
Yeah.
which is really volatile, which
Yeah.
might not last long, but then it lasts for a minimum certain period of time, which had to be encashed.
You have to
Exactly, yeah.
literally take that. That's like your chance to like take it and run, because
Exactly.
you have only that much time. And yeah, I don't know how the algorithm works, but it's like
Yeah,
Instagram
yeah.
just starts pushing your things once, you hit like I don't know if it's you hit a certain amount, but once you reach like a large audience and you've gotten a bunch of reactions, then it starts like pushing a lot of your content. And if you are consistent with the number of views you pull in, then it
Yeah.
keeps pushing your things. If you don't,
Got it.
like you said, if you don't encash on it, then that's all, like your time runs out fast and it's someone else's turn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we actually did encash on that, and we were on the discover page of our region for 3 or 4 of our next 10 reels, I guess.
Yeah.
And then there was another massive break with a song called Yeno Yeno Agide by there were more. There was this song Neera Bittu Nelada Mele, which was also retro, in which Jai Jeevan and Suprabha were a part of. And when I'm constantly telling the most majority of my effort was before we went viral. The moment we went viral, I realized that the audience are here for a different kind of music, a different texture of music is what they're expecting.
Okay.
And my abilities are very limited. I can either play a cajon or play a djembe, or I mean some acoustic instruments of this sorts, and I didn't want to put that same flavor into every reel coming up. And also leading us to the next section, I also didn't like how we got viral because of that short format of content of 60 seconds.
Yeah.
So there were these two major factors that made me take a decision of guys, I'm not going to be a part of the reels or the social media content anymore, because I am for sure, I'm really sure, and I can vouch my words on the fact that it gets monotonous after a certain point if we keep adding the same instruments.
Yeah.
And I don't know production electronically.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to like interrupt that flow. One thing, I had a collective reason for the band's well-being, and I was also selfish. My selfish reasons or about that decision was that if it gets monotonous and the band's social media doesn't do well, it also doesn't convert into live shows. End of the day, personally, I want live shows from the band.
Yeah.
So I took a conscious decision of stepping out of the
Reels
reel
and
game
the
of the band. So they have been Suprabha, Jai Jeevan and Sunidhi have been really, really consistent with it. I don't know where they find time out of in the already busy schedule they have. Yeah. So they have been like to it, like up to it, like they have been really meticulously going behind every opportunity they find, and I have been lucky enough to like milk the or ripe the fruits of it,
reap the
and
rewards.
reap the rewards. That thing, guys. So,
but I'm pretty sure that converted to like a lot of live shows once you start going viral.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, that is where I took an advantage of that. But again, if I continued like appearing on reels with the same old instruments, I don't know if it would have worked, because I wouldn't listen to that.
Got it. But I mean, a lot of times people have like a certain type of genre or category that they like listening to. So
Probably, yeah.
there's out of that many people, I'm pretty sure there'll be like a percentage of people who wouldn't mind listening to the same thing because
Yeah.
that's what they're into, right?
I
And
wasn't confident about how big that percentage would be.
yeah, got it.
Can be possibly.
But like you said something. I don't. I mean, it's not that I don't like it, but the whole thing of short form content.
Exactly. Yeah. So
right?
that one half of the reason is sorted now. That
Yeah.
it would get monotonous and all that, and the short format, like you already mentioned about the algorithm and all that shit. Instagram algorithm for me is the Illuminati. People talk about it, and I don't know what it is, bro. Like I don't even know if it exists. Okay. Algorithm that, algorithm this,
Yeah.
analysts, algorithm experts,
Yeah.
a lot of things which don't make any sense to me.
Mm.
I guess I mean I feel like it is some blockchain code or something that gets like refreshing every time somebody posts, and it changes the algorithm. So again, see, my opinion about short format content is that, I mean, or my complaint against short format content is that the controllables or the aspects on which we can put real effort into are not really clear there.
Yeah. And I don't think it's that much. Like
Exactly.
the factors that you can't control are more than the factors that you control. Because there's this one thing I realized is a lot of reels you put out, right? Like I've not, like personally, most of like the reels I put on this page, like podcast related stuff. I had one behind the scenes video that it doesn't convert to a lot of likes, but reaches a lot of people, has lots of views, right? And that I realized that every minute that you post makes like a difference. So if you post at like 6:13 compared to like 6:17 for some very weird reason, it makes like a huge difference. And each time you post at that exact time, you're not going to get the same result, but it works in such a weird way that just thinking about how you post at the most random times, you either get like very high views or it doesn't go too far at all. So like you said, that thing doesn't make sense.
Mean,
it's a stroke of luck.
Who decides that for 6:14 to 6:17? When does that 6:14 to 6:17 change? So when it is so like not in our control, I don't think that's a really healthy environment to depend upon.
Yeah,
I'm really into the fact, and I believe the fact that there are a lot. I mean, if it is a fact, I have to believe it. Yeah, but then again, it's a tricky language. So there are a lot of people who've made careers out of it, who've made a lot of fortune out of it.
Exactly. So if you have a big fan base already, like a loyal fan base who will watch all the content that you put out, then it's okay. It doesn't matter.
Transitioning into short format is something which we can bank upon. And not starting out of it.
Yeah. But if you have like a huge, like if you have a huge following,
influence.
Yeah, you're a huge influencer, and you have a huge influence among with the masses.
That's another terrible term.
Yeah, that's a topic for another day. But if you have like such a huge reach, then it's easy. It doesn't matter if you post at 1 in the morning or at like some random like 2 in the afternoon, or even if you post at 10 in the night. It doesn't matter. People still watch it. But for people who are growing, it's so tricky how every minute makes a difference, and such a hit or miss. And speaking of short format, it's really cool how people have taken advantage of it. So are you familiar with comedy, like stand-up comedy?
Kind of, yes.
Like
I used to be an avid watcher. No.
A little bit.
Trevor Noah or Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart, those type of guys, right? So
two
comedians.
The cream.
The top. This thing.
David,
right?
Not David Goggins.
Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, Dave Chappelle. Yeah, see, that's how good I am.
But all these guys. So those were the older generation who didn't have all these things. They didn't have, like, Trevor Noah still uses the media a lot, but guys like Kevin Hart, Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, Chris Tucker, all of them, they obviously the old school guys. The new school guys who are coming up right now, they've used Reels and TikTok because TikTok has a crazy algorithm. Unfortunately, it's banned in India.
We got ourselves into that situation, more or less, into getting it banned. It was all done by us. Okay, is what I feel.
That happens, but like that also a topic for another day. But they've used it so well, like. Andrew Schultz is the guy who, during COVID, he started this thing where,
so you see the flagrant guy, right?
Yeah. That's the guy. So he started doing this thing where you can see reels like this.
Uh-huh.
So in the first he puts a thing saying tilt your phone sideways. He's the one who
Yes.
started that. And then after that you watch
Got
it
it, got
sideways,
it,
and
got
it's a
it.
1 minute clip, right? Him and there's this other guy called Matt Rife, who's
Yeah.
also a
Bro,
stand-up
Andrew
comedian.
Schultz is brutal.
Oh, he's
Oh my
so
God.
good. He's
Yeah.
the best at crowd work. So all these guys use that to their advantage, and they grew because of short format of content, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And what I don't like is first of all, I don't like how because of that my attention span has gone down a lot. Okay, everyone's attention span has gone
Exactly.
down a lot. We all could like sit and watch through movies. Now everyone I know either puts the movie on 1.5 speed, or they keep skipping,
Yeah.
and they like in their head they'll formulate the
And
plot.
we are out here recording a podcast.
Exactly. We're sitting for like 50 minutes talking. I have to make
Oh
clips
my
on
God.
every bit of this podcast. But you know what I'm saying,
Got
right?
it,
Like,
got
I
it, yeah.
love listening to podcasts and all, but
Yeah, we'll get into that.
it's again tough because people, their attention span used to be this much. After shorts, reels started, it's gone down to this much. Like, it's become like the attention span of a cockroach or like a peanut. Like, that's how much it
Exactly.
is, right? And in
From
a way,
a
it's good.
dinosaur to a lizard.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much backwards evolution. Talk about that, right? So what is the point I was trying to make?
Yeah, I mean, how
it helps you grow viral, but at the same time, for people who sit and do this, because I can sit and have conversations for like hours, editing it, putting it together is a problem. But
Yeah.
like I love doing that. I love listening to like Rogan. He has people on for 3-4
Oh my God,
hours and
yeah.
all of that, right? But at the same time, people's attention spans are like, it's gone down so much. I don't know, like apart from movies, because they keep you lashed on, I don't know how many like movies and maybe sports, I don't know how many
Yeah.
things are there that can help, that can like keep people's retentions for like a very long time.
Before getting into the retention part of it, even with short format, I will confidently use the word hate and also own it, like completely own it.
Yeah.
I actually hate short format content of people who are really way too average or below average, and they're making a
Production
Yeah,
or the
they're
content.
They're looting because of this.
Hmm.
I for a fact know that it won't be a long time game for them. And I know that they're going to have a really terrible crash at some point in time.
God forbid. We're not manifesting it, but like
we're not,
it might happen.
we
You
don't
can't
want
say.
that to happen, but then it's visible out there. It's really to be seen by everybody, and they would have seen that in their analytics and all that. So the thing is, a lot of people who are really talented are missing out on opportunities and are wasting a lot of time because these things are what do a company what is a company's main motive into bringing all these different forms of content? To keep you latched on to it for a long time, right? So Facebook doesn't care, or Google doesn't care, or TikTok doesn't care about what kind of people are getting famous. They don't care if he really possesses some talent or not. What they want is to people like being on their apps for a long period of time, and they're very carefully engineering all these the whole feed or scroll system into a certain way that whatever the type of format is, you might hate the content you're watching, and you still have to watch that. Because your mind is now so mapped into the fact that this is a part of your body. So I feel weird looking at my palm right now, and I don't have my phone there. Right? it's that bad. And it is not something that happened by accident, right? It's clear, proper, specific engineering, right? They know how people's psyche works, how our brains they have like big ass teams that work only on how the human brain works and how you can get somebody addicted to something. They study the patterns of addiction,
and then you
they
to
have
the
literal
engineers.
maps of cocaine addicts, sugar addicts. Sugar is also an addiction. So they have literal maps of that. They study how it works, how to capture a larger area of that specific part of your brain. I really don't know what it's called. I remembered reading it in some book, but I don't remember it anymore. So I feel this is targeted crime. happening against people.
Yeah.
See, it's very easy to tell that it's in your control. You can use it for the positive side of it. You can control it and all that. Yes,
Yeah.
it holds goods to cigarettes.
Yeah.
No offense to any smoker out there, bro.
Yeah.
It holds good to alcohol,
drugs,
anything,
whatever.
drugs. Yeah, any synthetic drug. I know. I mean, a human can control if he has that perseverance. If he has that mindset of controlling, he can. But then, you still know it causes cancer, right?
Yeah.
So that is what social media is.
Yeah.
People know it can be harmful. To what extent is what people clearly know, because they are into thorough research of that specific aspect even more than us. We know just the surface level knowledge of it, and we know by experience. So we know only what's the past and what's the present. These guys, because of all that intense and immense research, they know what's the future of it, where it will get human beings into. So knowing all this promoting short format, see, it gets to a broader picture. It's not just about artists and how it is affecting us, right? End of the day, it is collectively affecting the human race.
Yeah.
We aren't big enough to address this issue, or talking about this. Talking about this might not make a big difference, but at least having that awareness that it's not only about a certain profession being affected by it. And it affects the whole the species. So that is what gets me really angry about the short format content, the way it's becoming an addiction. So, and also because it's not that authentic. With everything exactly, right? But everything said and done, I think there are really talented people out there who would have continued doing long format content, or who would have started off with long format content, but bowing down or giving up to what the situation is right now.
Giving into the situation
again, guys. English.
No. I didn't mean to correct you. I didn't mean to correct you. I'm sorry.
No. I mean, I would love it if you did correct me, because I would learn a few more words by the time I get back home. But then, where was I? There are really talented people. There's one content creator called Wikipedia. You would have heard of this recent viral song, Nanu Nandini. That one, right? That guy is a genius, bro. He can create really good content, and even for him, with all that talent, after that Nandini song went viral, he had to make his next 3 or 4 reels which had a reference of Nandini. Because now the new set of followers, he has to
from Nandini. That's where he got.
He has to transition them into his authentic original content with small references, reducing it, all that. So I mean, again, Andrew. There are a lot of talented people who will have to resort to short format content because of how the scenario is right now. Because end of the day, they are totally dependent on that, and cleverly so they can get all the clout they can get on short format, and if they're really talented, they can transition all that, and they can bring it up to the long format content.
That's what I wanted to get into. So a lot of people, just like how your band, you've used short format content
for the lives,
for
right?
live gigs. That's, I think,
I think I missed a point where in terms of live, if you remember, initially live was the only form of entertainment. Then came satellite with the TVs and all that. Satellite decreased people going out to live performance and all that majorly, and then came the internet. The advent of the internet.
Somewhere not TV shows, but like self-production and all of that came. That you produce and then you put it on a TV show. Then it transitioned to putting it on the internet.
And then the TV shows went down. The internet, then came the phone. You are still watching the long format game, but on the phone and not on your TV, laptops or desktops. And now the phone is your interface, and now from long format, the advent of social media has gotten into short format.
Exactly. And before bashing up short format content, one good thing I think is like the live gigs I was talking about. It helps you. So people from that short format go to consume like the long format
100%.
stuff, right? Like same thing with comedians, they put out their bits which are less than a minute,
Yeah.
and if it's really funny, people really like
The
it.
whole special, they
they'll
even
go,
buy
they'll
it.
go
Yeah.
buy the whole special, or they'll go to your tour, look if you're going to
Perfect.
their city, and then they like watch,
Exactly.
and then you make money, right? Same thing with movies.
Yeah.
For some very weird reason on YouTube, I started getting shots
Yeah.
of these movies, and then I'll be like,
there's a trailer, there's a teaser, and then there's a
this
short.
is not even a
Yeah.
trailer. This will be like a scene from a
Yeah.
thing. Like one show, The Rookie, I ended up watching the whole show because I saw one YouTube shot of it, and they
Awesome.
baited me so well because I was like, wow, I need to check this out. I binge watched in like I think a couple of weeks. I finished like 5 seasons. It
Got
was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that helps, even though it's like cut down people's retention and like attention span. It still helps a lot of people. If you're good at what you do, you end up gaining from it. Like
Yeah.
even though you're cutting people's attention span down, there are people who are willing to come and watch you perform for like an hour, 2 hours, or whatever
Yeah.
it is,
The,
right?
the only problem it makes it like that bit more difficult to get people into.
Yeah.
I mean, there are already millions of artists out there.
Exactly.
You're coming back to artists again.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are already like a lot of artists. It was already difficult to get people watching your specific piece of content, and now there are very less. The people are still very niche specific,
Yeah.
and in that, some people don't want to watch long format.
Yeah.
So if you're filtering it out so much, it
Yeah.
gets really difficult
For the artists.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
to be frank, we spoke a lot about the negatives of short format content, but if you really know to use it in the proper way, it can be the biggest boon,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I'm an exponent of it, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm doing live gigs because my band's Instagram page went
Yeah.
viral.
As much as you hate it, you have to thank it.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
ironically, I'm talking so much about hating short format content, but if you check my average watch time, Instagram will be the highest.
Yeah,
And I wouldn't go on liking photos on Instagram,
Yeah,
right?
it's all the
I would
reels you
obviously,
just
watch
scroll.
the reels. And then it's YouTube.
Yeah.
And if YouTube had a different analytics where if you're watching a full grown video or a short, it'll still be shorts which has the upper end.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can just talk about we can be really woke about it, but
Yeah.
we still are victims of it, and we are
Yeah.
promoting it in one way or the
Yeah.
other. We are also like taking the advantage of it.
Because I had my friend Anas on the podcast a few episodes ago, and we were talking about how addicting it is.
Yeah.
It's like you wake up in the morning, you open
Oh my
Instagram,
God, yeah,
and then you
talk to
start
me about that,
scrolling.
yes.
You would have started scrolling, right? And before you know it, an hour would have gone past. And this is
Precise.
a comparison I wanted to draw. Like I remember listening to Andrew Schultz again. He's like, I think, the king of short format now, because
He's
was
the king of comedy right
Yeah.
now, at least US comedy right now.
yeah, he started out, like making this whole thing popular, right? About putting out your bits on Instagram, whatever.
Yeah.
He had this thing where he's like, when he put out short content, like 15 minutes content, people would watch his 15-minute content for 2 hours instead of watching a 1 hour special. So he compared that to like
Got it.
an alarm clock where you're like, okay, your alarm starts ringing in the morning, you'll be like 15 minutes more you snooze, 15 minutes more you snooze, like that you would have got an hour of sleep. So when he said you're looking at his analytics, it said that he used to put out a 15-minute bit of his special every week, and that would get more views. And when you look at the analytics, it's people watching that, going to the next 15-minute bit, going to the next 15-minute one,
Got it.
which gets him more views than one long 1 hour thing. And it's weird how they'd rather watch 2 hours and 15 minutes bit than 1 hour in one whole sitting.
Exactly.
And again, that's just crazy how the human mind works,
Yeah.
where you're okay, because you just look at 15 minutes and you look at 1 hour. You don't see 15 into 4. You just see 15.
The stimulus in that is that is the problem with me and the TV series or any series for that. Say, I am a person who prefers going into the cinemas, watching the whole story, knowing what happens from the start to the end, and coming back. The reason being, if it is a series and I watch 40 minutes of it and they leave me hanging about what
These
happens next.
cliffhangers and
Exactly,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
most of the series these days are cliffhangers. Every episode is
So
one.
bad.
So I will end up watching it, binge watching it, however big it is. It's a disease, bro. I mean, trust me.
Yeah.
For me, it doesn't work for me. So it's again, I mean, the stimulus it generates, right? The happiness.
Yeah.
So if it is 15 minutes, now you're curious what happens next.
Like what's next?
If it is 2 hours, it's we take it for granted that we are going to know what is what's going to happen next, and we would be really like reluctant or lethargic about it.
Yeah.
We wouldn't care to. We are lazy. We are getting lazier. To be frank. Something should give us that extra burst of excitement for us to continue watching it, right? So I guess the 15 minutes thing you told, at the end of it, we know there are a lot more jokes. I like this set of jokes hidden in these 15 minutes.
This topic that he talks about. Exactly.
And now I'm really hooked at the 15. If it is 2 hours, at some point we get distracted. Because we know it for a fact that we are going to watch the full thing. And there is also that sense of suspense or that sense of uncertainty where you're watching for 15 minutes and now you're curious. You might not want to watch the next 15 minutes right now, but you have to check whether the next 15 minutes is there on the internet yet or not.
Or you have to wait for it for a week or whatever.
Exactly. If that is there, you'll go to check whether the rest of it is there. And if it is there, now that I've already discovered the rest of it, I'll just click on one more episode, one more episode, and then it's a cycle.
It's crazy.
Talking of cycles, I also have this strong belief that see, we share a common opinion of how common opinion about short format content in general, that it's actually bad, but it can be used in good ways, and there are good people on it, like really talented people. People like us, we don't care about what the trend is, and we are getting we are still sticking to the long format. After a certain point, like a certain fashion trend, going back to long format becomes what is called cool. And people will again transition into that. So I guess it's a really cyclic process where people keep on
switching
with
between
every
long
new
and short format.
With the advent of AR and VR, I guess people wouldn't want to watch a reel of 1 minute on an AR experience or on a VR headset, right? They want a really immersive experience, and for that they would again prefer long format. What I feel is when mobiles or when computers emerged initially, that was that generation's VR, right? So they wanted a lot of it. Now we are tired of the gadget already. It has become a monotonous part of our life.
Definitely.
So we don't want long format content. There's nothing exciting about watching a mobile screen anymore. So the content has to be exciting now. So we keep on searching for new thing. Okay, this is done. I've already watched 10 more things like this. We do that.
You hear a reel song, you know what the reel is going to be about.
However good the song is, we'll end up hating it in 1 or 2 days of it going viral.
It goes viral and then you'll be this song again, and then after 2-3 weeks.
That's not true with our covers. Watch our covers.
But after 2-3 weeks, you'll hear it on WhatsApp because people on WhatsApp find out about things status after everything gets over. 2 trends ago, they'll start using that music, right? Now.
That hierarchy, there's some apps before Reddit. Then it comes to Reddit. Then on Instagram and Twitter. Then on Facebook. Then WhatsApp.
Also, wait, just a quick this thing. If you guys have reached this far, he mentioned Reddit. I want to start a series about Reddit. So if you are someone who scrolls on Reddit, spends a lot of time on Reddit, DM me your favorite subreddits and we'd probably check out stories from it, and I'll have different people on and we can probably react to different types of subreddits. Wow, nice segue. Continue.
Hamara apna KSI.
But
KSI is one hilarious guy.
Bro, KSI is one of those people who've been on the internet for the longest time.
And he's been able to adapt. Exactly.
He's been able to adapt from his very controversial videos from 10 years back, where he's going on the street asking and saying the most wild things, to switching to reels and
control whatsoever.
No filter, nothing. And it's cool seeing some of those guys who we grew up watching being able to adapt to now, because there are lots of people who we grew up watching who aren't around now because of this whole change. They've not been able to.
See, again, KSI was really motivated or determined and also talented. He still prevails. From KSI to ISO speed. We've grown up.
We have grown up.
So we were at how it's a cycle and we'll get back to long format, right? Exactly. Speaking of long format, my favorite long format digital content right now are podcasts. Bro.
Yeah, it's
They are healing.
fun. It's fun to
Terrible.
listen to
I
when you
mean,
don't have
terrific.
anything else. And
Yeah.
like I, as in if you don't have anything else to do, like it's cool because the thing is, what I like about podcasts is, first of all, I love listening to conversations, right?
Yeah.
Like I love talking to people. I love listening to people more than like giving my output. And growing up, I was never confident to like put my opinion out there, right? So I love listening to podcasts because, I mean, based on how the podcast is, it feels like you're part of the conversation. So you can be minding your own business, driving, cleaning your house, doing whatever, and
You're
you can
still
like
in a
listen
room
to
with
it.
a few
Yeah, exactly.
people.
Makes you feel
talking to
less
you.
lonely. That sounds sad, but
Bro, yeah.
but yeah. So
that hit close to home.
yeah, that is hope for me.
That is, oh my god.
But yeah, I like how that's going, and I hope that kind of, we come back to that place where podcasts become like a thing. Like it is becoming a thing, but
Yeah.
people like again watching like clips and small bits of podcasts. But hopefully it comes full cycle again, and we reach that long format type of content.
I'm really hopeful about it, or I'm really confident about that happening, because I mean, again, talking of podcasts, like humans are really social animals. I don't consider what we are, our generation, as humans anymore. We are something different.
Yeah,
we
something special.
we have evolved from humans, and now we are like in the middle of a really big evolution where
Yeah.
our ancestors were humans, we are something else, and then we are
We're gonna
our
become
future so we are somewhere in the middle, bro. We are really messed up. But then it's again in our genetic memories, we have always been conversationalists. We were always like really social. See, podcast is a virtual or a digital version of how people used to like sit like around the village main banyan tree under that tree and like have like goofy conversations like for hours long, right?
Yeah.
So we will end up connecting back to those roots sooner or later.
I think a more apt comparison is if you have guests at home and like
Yeah.
all the elders are talking, you're just a kid sitting and listening to them.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
Amazing.
that's how
Got it,
podcasts
yeah.
work, right? And we've been recording for like an hour. You want to wrap this up?
Yeah, I think yeah.
Cool.
We'll keep the rest of it for some other day.
Yeah, for another day.
There's a lot to.
There's a lot to
discuss,
unwind,
yeah.
right? So you can take the next 30 seconds or however long you want to tell people where they can find you. I'll put your link down below.
Yes, sir.
You and your band, so you can just put your band's Instagram and your Instagram out there.
So I go by SHANK _SM on Instagram, and my band's profile is at the Staccato Cafe. I can't spell staccato. You'll have to manage with that. I'm sorry.
That's where we can say, guys, link in bio.
Oh yeah, link down below or all that, and subscribe to follow and all that to Open Slate.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. I was about to do that, but I don't have to do that anymore.
He'll do that though, like the professional way. And my first exposure to listening to my own voice, or I mean, having to my first exposure to having to talk on a podcast. I've been an avid follower of podcast for a long time now, so it was a really good experience to come and have this conversation, bro. I was so glad this wasn't an interview. I asked you a few questions, you let me do that. It was a really good conversation. He's just beginning, guys. he's keeping up with it. He doesn't care about any metric for that. Say that's for short format content people. We don't get discouraged. We've been through all this, so this is nothing new to us. Yeah, you're gonna see him at the top one day.
Hopefully. Thank you so much.
Just
Thank you
keep up
so
with
much
it.
for coming through. This is super like last minute thing. We decided yesterday and we're here today with a couple of hiccups with equipment. But again, thank you so much for coming through.
Yeah, shout out to Kevin, because of whom Lakshman found out the podcast, and shout out to Lakshman, because of whom I found Adil, I found Open Slate. Yeah, I'll be boring you guys a lot more in episodes coming. See you all. You can close it your way.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you made it this far, I'm going to link all his stuff down below. You can check it out. You can reach out to him for gigs if you have anything coming up. And yeah, thank you guys so much for all the love and support as usual. My name is Adil. That was Shashank, and this is the Open Slate. Until next time.